Okay, so the purpose of the hotbed is to heat up the roots of your garden before it's actually warm in your area. It's magical in my opinion. So the size really matters. If you have a really long extended season of cold in the spring, you need a bigger hotbed. If it's a shorter window of time between when the sun starts to be in the sky longer and when you stop having frost, then you need, what am I saying? The longer you're cold from the time that there's enough sunlight to plant till your last frost date, the longer that period is, like in Idaho from February 15th until June 28th is when we can still have a lot of frost, but the sun is high enough and long enough that it would grow plants. There's enough sunlight. So I've already got compost in here, I have hay in here, I have manure in here, and it's time to put on our PVC. This is how we hold the plastic on. Hey, honey. One of these little stakes is a lot lower, a lot shorter than the others. So it works a lot better to have the post on the inside of the compost pile instead of the outside, because then the wire can help hold everything stable. Okay, so here I have it mostly finished. All I need to do is go get a very small piece of PVC and a very big piece of PVC so that I can make a hoop to go around this, a hoop at the bottom to hold the plastic down, because you can't connect plastic to something like this. It will just tear it. So I've never done it that way before, but that's how I'm going to do it this time to weight it down. And pretty happy with it. I need to fill it up with manure and more hay, and then I can go ahead and plant into it, which I'm planning on planting into it on Friday. And it's always worked really well for me. If you don't use enough carbon, it cannot decompose because there's too much nitrogen. If it's too much carbon and not enough nitrogen, it won't decompose because there's not enough bacteria to get everything fueled up. Rabbit manure tea works really well if you do not have manure. Rabbit manure tea, you can use 100% rabbit manure tea and it will work up as much carbon as you want to. And I'm also bringing out carbon and vegetable peels that the animals won't eat and using that in the compost too. Always use what you have. Traditionally, horse manure and bedding, sorry, I've got wool in my eye. Traditionally, horse manure and their bedding was what a hotbed was made out of. It's ideal. But none of my previous hotbeds were made with horse manure. They were all made with goat, sheep, rabbit, chicken, duck manure and their bedding. Some of the bedding was leaves, some of it was wood mulch, and some of it was wool. I just used what I had, and when I ran out of bedding, I used logs, old brush, old sticks, because they are also carbon and they break down a lot slower. As long as you have the ratio correct, you can use pretty much anything. The other thing is I don't have a wheelbarrow. What I did have was a laundry basket, a jump rope, and a bin. And so I can use that. I don't have to go spend $100 on a wheelbarrow in order to do what I need to do. So did you get it all fixed? So did you get it all? Okay, I tried to pull the PVC down so that I could have a smaller mound so that it would all fit, but it's not going to work. I would need to cut my PVC, which I don't really want to do at this point. So instead I'm going to put 2 layers over and just clip it down like that. The important thing is, the reason I came up with this is, the one thing you don't want in a greenhouse is an updraft. You don't want the wind to be able to get in under it or it will come off. So I had to scoot it down further onto the compost pile, and now we'll clip it and it'll be just fine. Okay, I like that one a lot better. It's pulled down around the frame itself. It's not stretched too tight, and it's not gonna lift off because nothing can get up and underneath it. I have it snapped down in all the places I want it, as well as on the sides. And so I'm super happy with that. We'll look at it when we come out. The one thing is, it's going to be a little harder to use as far as lifting it up and down by having it this well attached. So we're just going to have to play with it. And again, hopefully you enjoyed this. I'm excited to try out one more way of doing this. I have yet to find a way that doesn't work, so I'm pretty excited. The reason this is so important is because it's breathable. I will not be here every day to lift it when the sun comes up and it's no longer cold. So this will allow steam, heat, everything to move back and forth, but there's enough heat in the hotbed that it will actually keep the plants warm. So, ugly but effective. This is how frozen it is. I can't open that up. I kind of wanted to open it up and anchor it a little better. Looks like somebody took the brick off, but I can't because it is frozen solid. Okay, so here's the front bed, and I'm not seeing anything coming. Oh, never mind. I do. I see something coming up. So I buried the comfrey. I buried it, and I've got peas in here planted, but I don't see any peas coming up. Wait, I do. I see one right there. That is a pea. Now the growth, there is raw manure underneath, but those peas are never going to come in contact with it. And there's a comfrey. I got comfrey all over the place. I don't know how happy it's going to be because it seriously did freeze last night. They actually look pretty happy. Those are just extra wires that I had that are holding the cold frost blanket up. Here's the hotbed. Cannot find my seed tray. And I do put these clips on if I'm concerned about wind. I really don't want that flipping up. So, okay, let's see how it looks in here. Oh, well, there's my seed tray. Paige totally didn't see it. Okay, I was concerned everything in here would be dead. The tray is warm. The seeds are all still alive. Even the sensitive ones are still alive, so it stayed plenty warm in here. Can you see the frost or the heat coming off of it? I need to close this back down right now. So there's onions, there's peas, there's radishes. I even have tomatoes back here. Can you see the steam? Maybe here, I'll move the water. See the water? It's not frozen. But unless I move, like, you can see the warmth in here. The soil is warm to the touch. You're gonna have to move something so you can see it. No, you can't see it. That's basil, and the basil is just fine. The box is warm because the soil is warm. I'm gonna close that. So, there, it is in the 20s. What I was concerned about was that I was gonna come out here and find that, especially my little seed tray of stuff that I just planted, which just things like Chinese cabbage, which they're cold resistant, but they're not like heavily frost resistant. That was a really hard freeze last night. You can see the ice. I mean, you know, you saw the ice. And now I just dumped ice all over it on the inside. Anyway, so everything in there is happy and fine in the 20s because the hotbed itself is very warm. Even though there's ice on the inside, the soil is warm, the bed is warm, the plants are warm.